Hello friends, are we in for a fun one today? This is Nancy, the Handy Scandy for Whimsy Stamps. Thank you for joining me. We are going to be playing with some of the brand new Halloween release items that were just released on August 1st. I had to get my hands on these items and I definitely wanted to share them here with you today. Let me pause and say, if you are concerned about Whimsy having Halloween, quote, so early in the year, you just wait. There's plenty more to come. It's not like we're starting early and we're going to fizzle out. Hang tight. There's loads of Halloween to come. If you're unfamiliar, Whimsy's one of the leaders in Halloween in this whole industry. So let's go. Now I showed you that I'm going to be using the Halloween Garland rub-on transfers as well as the Wonky Dots frames. And I'm also going to be using the Little Witch and Lil Warlock A2 quick card fronts. So doing just a quick flip through on both packs so that you can see all of the images as well as all of the sentiments. Now I narrowed it down to these two cuties, and here's where I start to bring in some more of the vast stash of Whimsy products that I have. I have the vintage script 6x6 background on the right and the vintage wallpaper 6x6 background on the left, adding a little bit of Lost Shadow to the wallpaper stamp, and I've already added some VersaFine Claire Nocturne to the vintage script, and then I'm adding some more to these already gorgeous card fronts. Now, if you know me, I'm a more is more kind of girl, and this is where I talk about things getting so much more fun, because they're already fun, but I'm going to take it to the next level because I can't leave well enough alone. So just using those inked up stamps and kind of randomly stamping the vintage script as well as the vintage wallpaper, and then I'm going to hit it with my heat tool and a little bit of clear fine detail embossing powder. So I don't want these to be like stand out in your face kind of things. I want them being the stamps, I want them to add some more interest, some texture, some dimension, some mystique, another place for your eye to go. So they're going to be filling lots of different roles, and we're going to see what they look like here in just a second. It's going to be very subtle, right? Like the vintage script, you can't really read what it says, so it adds a little bit more mystique. Like, is it a spell? Is it some type of incantation? We don't know. And you can just barely see the suggestion of some torn, tattered wallpaper with that vintage wallpaper stamp. It's just so much fun. Again, adding layers and interest. So here we're going to bring in some more Whimsy products, and I have the Star Galaxy stencil as well as some Distress Grit paste in Glow, and then I'll also be bringing in the 6x9 stencil called Harlequin. Now, if you know me, Harlequins are one of my most favorite shapes, my most favorite motifs, if you will, and especially for Halloween, I can't get enough of them. So yeah, I've used them several times already this year and will continue. So here we are, just putting some more of that glow right through that stencil. Now I did try to take photos with the paste glowing because it really does. It glows in the dark brilliantly. But unfortunately, it's hard to take pictures in the dark. At least it is for this girl. I am a crafter and a creator. I am not a photographer. So if you have some photography skills, tips, or tricks that you can impart onto me that would help to take some pictures in the dark a little more successfully, let me know. I'm definitely open to suggestion. So I thank anybody who might have some suggestions for me, and we're going to move on. So here's where I have that 6x9 Harlequin. You can see there are 3 different Harlequin patterns on there. One is very clean and crisp. This one is kind of elongated and grungy and warpy, and the other one is definitely a grungy one on the far left there. That one, to be fair, is my favorite, but I just thought this elongated one would be great for this particular project. So very happy to have all of the options, and it does add so much interest and texture, and of course when it glows in the dark, wow, it's over the top. They are just over the top. And don't be afraid to add more than you think you might need, because again, these are basically translucent and you don't see much of it unless you have it tilted in the right light or if it's dark. So there you go. So now here is where I am pulling out that new frame die, and it is so much fun. Wonky Dots frame die. It actually has 3 different frames, and I thought there were only 2, but there are 3. So you can see up on the top left, I have the outside frame just kind of laying there, kind of auditioning on that Sweet Boy Warlock panel. And we're going to decide what we're going to do with it. But ultimately, I cut both of the main panels out with this die, and then I use the largest of the 2 interior frames, if you will. I use those to frame my images. But I leave a little bit of the card base peeking out. It just adds to that layered look. So these are super, super cute. I thought I might use the smaller one, and here's where I'm auditioning the smaller frame again. And just, I don't know, it really draws your eye in to that super cute image, but at the same time, I felt like it took away from it. So I went with the larger frame on both of them, and I feel like it really works. So here's where I'm taking my gel pen and just adding a little bit of interest, if you will, to the curves of the dots that are suggested on these frames as well. Now you can address these dots in any way that you want. You can paper piece other colors in there. You can layer them over another frame. There's lots and lots of different things that you can do. You can ink blend and do rainbow. You can do monochrome. You can do tone on tone, which is what I chose to do. But I also wanted to highlight that pattern in some way. So that's why I came in with a gel pen. Super simple and very effective in my opinion. I love that it added just a little bit more white to that stark black of the frame and brought the white from the backgrounds onto the frame, and just I feel like it tied them in a little bit better. And from a distance you can't really tell, are they cutouts or what's going on? You kind of want to zoom in a little bit closer so you can see just exactly what are those little marks. So I feel like it draws the viewer's eye a little bit I don't know, draws the viewer's eye in a little bit more closely, a little bit more intently. Not sure the word I want to use there, but hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. Now, it may not look that the curves on these frames are purposeful, but they are. They definitely go curving in the same direction. So that's why I am flipping this one over and lining it up right so that the curves are the same. Now, will it, mess up your project if your curves don't go in the same direction? Not at all. Depends on what you're going for, and some may not even notice that the curves are different. So to be fair, you do what pleases your creative eye. And so now I have the backgrounds done, I have the frames done, popped up on some of that double-sided craft foam tape, and now I'm bringing in my fun rub-ons. Now rub-ons are making such a comeback, y'all. I've used them from other companies as well, and they're so much fun. And they just add something that, I don't know, you might just find that you need it and you didn't know you needed it until you had it. And then you have it and you're so thankful for it. And that's kind of the way these are. The additions are very subtle. They look like they were just part of the project from the get-go, from the start. And they aren't, but they're such fun added details. So of course you can see that I have the little back garland that I've added to that top right corner, and I added it right over my stamping and right over my stenciling. So don't be afraid to layer those extra dimensions. It is okay. There are no police that are going to come in and tell you that you've done too much. If your creative eye tells you it's too much, then go with your eye. But don't let someone else, or let me encourage you. I don't want to tell you what to do. Because what I'm going to say is, don't let someone else tell you what to do. Follow your creative heart, your creative vision. So now on this particular one, this sweet little girly witch, I'm just bringing in a spider. No garlands on this one. And there's no right or wrong. I could have left the spider off, and people may not even know that it was missing. You know what I mean? But I think it's kind of fun coming down here on top of this little jack. So just use that popsicle stick that you have to kind of burnish it down onto your project. Now, if you are going to use the frames, I would say add them before you add a frame. That way you don't have to worry about fighting the frame in order to get it down successfully. So now I'm layering up all of my different pieces, all the elements to each card. Now this one's a little bit different. I have adhered the card panel straight down to my side fold A2 size card, and then I trimmed the card base down just a little bit so that I could add an A2 sized layer of black cardstock directly to the back. So that adds just another element, another layer to all of those other layers. So here I am taking my card front and adding it to a black layer that I have trimmed down to just smaller than A2. And then this whole thing will be mounted onto the side fold card base, which again is A2. So everything measures up properly. They're just layered a little bit differently. And if I hadn't told you, I'm sure some of you wouldn't even notice it. Some would, because some just notice everything. Some do not, and that's okay. I'm just saying the way that I've done it is very subtle, or the way that I've incorporated my differences, if you will, are very subtle, and they're not necessarily noticeable, at least at first glance. But here they are. Sweet, sweet cards. I went ahead and added my sentiments offline. The Perfectly Wicked is die cut with the, I wasn't prepared to tell you what those are called, with the Quick Strips Sentiment die set. And then the other one, I just did my my little cutter, my guillotine cutter, and then I went back and I added some cheesecloth just around both of those sentiments, and I just tucked it in there and used my scissors to kind of stick it down in the glue so that it wouldn't fray apart. But there they are. Guys, I hope you had as much fun as I did. Join us on all Whimsy socials. Use those links to go shop if you are interested. Drop me any comments, anything you want to talk about downstairs. And until next time, mwah. This is Nancy, the Handy Scandy for Whimsy, and I'm out.